Okay, so hi everyone. Today I would like to talk about Zapier, which is a very cool tool to connect different API from different providers. So you actually can connect different apps together and you don't have to write any code. And what I'd like to do today is actually to show you my five top favorite apps to make my life easier. So first of all, some few words about tools. So Zapier is, you can go at zapier.com, and this is the tool that connects API from, you can connect more than 400 apps together. So for example, you can, I don't know, you can send email every time you create a new card on Trello, or you can, I don't know, anytime you have new Google Calendar event, you can send Slack message and then you can write an email to someone. So actually you can, like, as I said, connect thousands of tools. And the best part is that you don't have to write code. So I'm a software developer and I love to solve problems. I mean, I know different APIs, different tools, and I love to solve problems using this. And before Zapier, I actually wrote some code to connect this. But with Zapier, you can achieve the same thing in like 5 minutes, and you don't have to write any code, you don't have to host the code, you don't have to worry about anything. You just go to app and create Zap, and yeah, you can be live in like 2 minutes. So straight to the point. The first Zap is group reminders. So the problem I have is that we have a group of people, and I would like to send reminder to every single person from this group. But I would like to send only one reminder at a given day. So to give you example, let's say we have John, Steve, and Mike, and on Monday I would like to send reminder to John, but on Tuesday I would like to remind something to Steve, and then Wednesday I would like to send reminder to Mike. And then it's Thursday, and I would like to send something to John. Then Friday, Steve, and Monday next week, I would like to send something to Mike. So how to achieve this? You have to do two things. So first of all, you have to create a spreadsheet. I'm using Google Spreadsheet. And you have to create very simple list. And this list have name of the person and date when you send them reminder. So as you can see, I sent some reminder on 4th of March to John, but I also sent him a reminder on 9th of March. You can also see I sent something to Steve and Mike. So that's the first step. You have to build something like this. Then you have to create different spreadsheet, which is a summary table. So it's a list of people, and you can see when you send the last reminder, and then you have information if they should receive, if you have information if the next reminder should be sent to them. So on the left side you have name of each person. You have to enter this manually, so that's how you define how many people you have. And then you have Slack handle, so if you want to send Slack messages, you should add here their name. Then there is a last time column, and this actually is a very simple formula done in spreadsheet. So what is that is it looks at this table, and for every single person it just select the latest day of reminders. So you can see that John had 2 reminders, but the latest one was on 9th of March. So in a summary table you have 9th of March next to the John. And when you have the last time for every person, you can easily say who should be next. So the next person should be always the person who has the earliest date. So in this case it's Steve. And again, it's very simple formula in spreadsheet. So you just take a look at all the dates in the last time column, and you select the earliest one, and yeah, and you mark this as true. So if you have a spreadsheet like this, then you can go back to Zapier and create your first Zap. And as you can see here, every single Zap starts with trigger. So trigger defines when the Zapier should be run. And then you have some actions. So actually this Zap, how it works. So a trigger is everyday trigger. So every single day at given hour, this Zap will be triggered. And when it's triggered, the first thing to do is to find in this spreadsheet find the line when the next value is true. So in this example, it's Steve. Then the next action is actually to add to the first spreadsheet the information that we're going to send reminder to Steve. So in this table, we will just add the name Steve and today's date, which is the 2nd June. And then the fourth point is actually sending the Slack message. And if you create Zap like this, then it's going to be done every day. Because you're going to update this table automatically, then this table will be also updated, and everything should work fine. Take a look at two things. So first of all, when you have this trigger, you can set to not trigger this on weekends, so it only works on weekdays, so we don't spam people on Saturday and Sunday, which is great. And if you want to find this row when the next value is true, you have to write something like this. It's actually quite simple, so you shouldn't have any problems. Yeah, so that's the first Zap. The second one is reminding about one-on-one meetings. So in our company, we have one-on-one meetings with all direct reports. So every Wednesday, I have meetings with all people I work with. So here you can see a screenshot from my Google Calendar. So I have meetings with Michał and with Łukasz every single week. And what I'd like to do, I would like to send them reminders 24 hours before the meeting to just remind them that they should prepare for the meeting. And how to do this is actually quite simple. First, you have to go to details of the Google Calendar, and you can see at the notes sections, I added the Slack handle. So every single Google invite with one-on-one meeting in notes have a handle of person's Slacks. So I know where to send the message. Then I go to Zapier, and the Zap is very, very simple. So the trigger is event start. So every time the event starts, I send a Slack message to the person, which is mentioned in description. So it's quite simple, but let's go to the details. So in a section at the beginning, you can define that the trigger should be run 24 hours before the meeting. So it doesn't have to start when the meeting starts. You can define to trigger Zap 24 hours before something starts, which is quite useful. And then there is a search term. So you also can limit the trigger to only start when the event has something in the name. So as you can see here, I only send this Slack message to events with one-on-one in name, which is quite handy because otherwise I would send messages to every single event I have in Google Calendar, which is not what I wanted to do. Yeah, so for every event with one-on-one in name, 24 hours before, I send Slack message. And here's a setting for the Slack. As you can see, you have to define channel, so we have to say to Slack where the message should be sent. And as you can see, I just use description from the Google event. So it's simple as that. Okay, let's skip to the third one. And this is async stand-up on Asana. So at Pilot, we do stand-ups every day, but our stand-ups are async. So what we do actually every day, we send message like this to the team members. So it's simple message. It's like, hi, this is a stand-up time. Please tell me what you did yesterday, what you plan to do today, and tell me if there's anything blocking you. And then people respond to this message every day. So Jacek said, okay, I yesterday done this, today I plan to do this, and I have nothing that blocks me. So that's how we work, and we have to create message like this every single day, and we actually use Zapier to make it. So that's our Zap, and you can see the trigger is every day. So similar to my first Zap, it's triggered every day at a given hour. Then at second and third step, the magic happens, so I would skip it for a moment. But then on the third on the fourth step, we send the email to Asana. So actually, if you want to post a message like this in Asana, all you have to do, you just have to send a message to very specific email with some ID numbers. So that's how it looks like. So actually, this on the screen you see that we send this message to 3 different Asana mails. So we send this to actually 3 different Asana teams. So every team can have their own stand-up message. But that's the first and the fourth step. But what happened in the middle is actually we'd like to prepare the stand-up note in advance. So if today we have Thursday, so today we'd like to create a note for Friday. So even if someone finishes the jobs today, they can already write a message and don't have to get up in the morning to write something. And to find out what's the day after today, we have to write some code. And Zapier is great because they allow you to write some JavaScript. So that's very simple code to find out what's the day after today. So that's the part when that's the second step. So after the second step, we have this tomorrow date, and then the third step is just a conversion. So Zapier have some very nice tools to format dates and other things. So you can take date from the JavaScript, which is in computer format, and you can change this to something more readable. So as you can see on the screen, actually, the name of the note has some readable date. Yeah, so that's how it works. So actually, it's very simple. We just trigger it every day, and we send a message by email to Asana. And in the meantime, we do some conversions to get tomorrow's date. If you'd like to read more about this, we actually have a blog post about the idea of the stand-ups, but also about implementation in Zapier. So you can check this link and read a lot more information. Okay, meetings review. That's the next step. It's also very simple. So the problem I have is I wanted to know which meetings. I have a lot of meetings, and I wanted to know which meetings give me some value and which not. So my idea was actually to create a spreadsheet which looks like this. So on the left you have name on the meeting, you have dates, you have information whom I had the meeting, and what I do after each meeting is actually I put the emoji if the meeting was useful or not. So it's a very simple tool for me to check which meetings gives value and which meetings should I don't know, take less time or should be moved or ignored, or I don't know. Yeah, and the Zap I created is also quite simple. So before any event start, when any event start, I get a Slack message which says, "Hey Staszek, please review the meeting. Click on this link and add emoji." So that's the second step, and the third step is actually filling the spreadsheet. So I don't have to add name and dates and manually. It's actually done by Zapier. All I have to do is just to open the spreadsheet and add emoji, and it's quite simple. Yeah, so that's how the Zap works like. Actually, it would be very nice to run the Zap not when the event starts, but when the event finishes. But there's no option to do this at the moment at Zapier. So you could do some hacks, but right now you don't have easy option to do this. Yeah, and the last Zap is the most complicated one, but it's actually quite fun. So I don't know if you use Slack, but on Slack you can store message, and I use it very often when I cannot respond to the message at the moment. So I see some message, someone asks me a question, and I know I can't write reply right now. So what I do, I start the message. I start the message on Slack, And then after a few hours, I go to Slack and I look for or start message so I can see where I should respond, and I just write responses one by one. So that's how it looks like. So I can store every message. So here Carolina asked me to create some new channel for her on Slack. So I start this message to respond later to this. But there's one thing we also do in such cases. So as you can see, there's a reaction with empty checkbox. So actually, every time I add star message, I also add this reaction. And I add this reaction to let people know that I seen this, I'm taking care of this, and it will be done. So it's just small information for people that it's not skipped, and actually someone is looking at it. Actually, maybe it's side of, but when we finish done, then we change the reaction to the done checkbox. But anyway, going back to Zap, what I wanted to do, because adding reactions manually is not so easy, then I wanted to add this reaction automatically every time I start message. So that's what this Zap is doing. And how it looks like, so first of all, it's triggered every time I start a new message. So that's quite obvious. But then Zapier doesn't have an option to add reaction to the message. So it's not possible. But you can write JavaScript. And actually, Slack have very nice API. So if you go to documentation of Slack's API, you can see there is a method to add reactions. And that's how it's a little bit complicated, but that's the method to add reactions. And as you can see, all you need to have is actually a token of the message, but also the name of the channel. Sorry, not the name, but ID. And the problem is this API call requires ID of the channel, but when you go back to Zapier, they don't give you ID of the channel, they give you name of the channel. So it's a huge problem because after running this first trigger, you know what's the name of the channel, but you actually need ID of the channel. And yeah, it's kind of hard to do. So what you can do, you can go back to documentation, and you can see the Slack gives you a method to list all the channels. And if you list all the channels, you see that every channel has ID and the name. So what you have to do, you have to first ask Slack for a list of all the channels. Then you have to search this list to find the channel with the given name. Then you read the ID, and then you can pass this ID to make a call to add reactions. And as you can see, I have here two actions to run JavaScript. It's because in Zapier you can make only one external API call per action. So in the second step, I ask Slack to give me a list of the channels, and in the first step, I ask Slack to add reactions. So you actually have to split this to two actions. You can't write this in one code. But it actually works. So if you run everything, then anytime you start the message, the reaction is added automatically. So it saves a lot of time. Yeah, and that's basically everything. So I mean, if you need to do anything, it's very easy to do something on Slack. You have thousands of APIs. You can write JavaScript, and it's way easier than writing a code and hosting this on your own. If you have any questions, you would like to, I don't know, see some snippets, you can always write to me on Slack or write me an email. I'll be happy to share some code with you. And yeah, maybe you have some questions. Okay, cool. If you don't have any questions, then thanks a lot for joining me on a Tech Talk. I hope you liked it, and yeah, see you.